Hi there music fans, hi there Cliff fans, and welcome to another one of my polls under the top 10. And today I'd like to give you 10 absolutely amazing guitarists that you might not realise played on Cliff records. And maybe some of you do know, but some of them are obvious, some of them not so obvious. All these musicians played on Cliff records, and so here's my top 10. But I will say that they're not in any particular order. These are just 10 fantastic musicians that played on Cliff's records. So I'm just going to mention, before I start the 10, that I want to mention Jimmy Page, because he didn't play guitar on this track, but he played harmonica on Cliff Richard and the Shadows' Time Drags By. I'm not sure whether a lot of people know that. I'm sure the diehard fans obviously know that, but a lot of people don't know that, so that's just for them. Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, played on a Cliff Richard record. So at number 10 I have Vince Gill. Now Vince Gill is a great guitarist. He appears on Eric Clapton's Crossroads charity gigs every time he has one, and absolutely stunning guitarist, country singer from America. And he appeared on Cliff's song "Wake Up Little Susie" that was on the Fabulous Songbook, Fabulous Rock and Roll Songbook album. Absolutely fantastic guitarist, absolutely amazing. He does the harmonies with Cliff as well on that single. So number 10, Vince Gill. Number 9, I have Big Jim Sullivan, and Big Jim Sullivan was in Marty Wile's Wildcats, along with Brian Nicholson and Brian Bennett, and they backed them. As well as Marty Wilde, they backed Eddie Cochran and Gene Vincent when they appeared in England as well. But in the early 70s, Brian was producing a record for Cliff, which was written by Hank Marvin, a song called Silvery Rain, and he asked Big Jim Sullivan to play guitar on it. And he does a beautiful classical guitar on Cliff's single, Silvery Rain. So Big Jim Sullivan, number 9. So number 8, I have Chris Rea, and everybody's singing what song did Cliff sing with Chris Rea? And it's kind of cheap. It's Band Aid 2. He actually played the lead guitar on Band Aid 2, which features Cliff, so technically it's a Cliff record, along with a lot of other artists. But I think it's worth throwing in as well, Chris Rea. So number 7, I have Mark Knopfler. And Mark Knopfler first played with Cliff on the Phil Everly album when he did She Means Nothing to Me and I'll Mend Your Broken Heart. Two absolutely fantastic tracks that he did with Phil Everly. And then on Cliff's second last album, he appeared on a track called P.S. Please. Stunning guitar. As soon as that record kicks in, you know it's Mark Knopfler playing. Well, Mark Knopfler fans know it's him. Very distinctive guitar sound. So he's number 7. Number 6, I have Duane Eddy. Classic rock and roll star Duane Eddy actually appeared on a Cliff Richard record. And any guesses for what it is? It's actually For Life, which was on the Something's Going On album, and a fabulous track. It's a standout track on the album, and that kind of twangy guitar on it is from Mr. Twang himself, Duane Eddy. For Life, Duane Eddy. Number 5, I have Peter Frampton, and Peter Frampton was a kind of 70s star, and he had that big track, Baby I Love Your Way, and Show Me the Way. Just two absolutely stunning tracks from the 70s. And he played guitar. He's a big Cliff in the Shadows fan. He played with Hank and Brian. He did a great track called My Cup of Tea on one of his albums. But he appeared on Cliff's Fabulous Rock and Roll album, Just Fabulous Rock and Roll album, and he played lead guitar on Dimples, the John Lee Hooker track. Absolutely amazing guitarist, and that's a standout track on that album for me. So at number 4, I have Brian May. This is an obvious one. Move It, back in 2000, and when was that released? 2004 was it? And it was a double A side with 21st Century Christmas, which did technically get to number 1 in the physical charts, but I think it only got to number 2 or 3 in the downloads. But it nearly was Cliff's number 1 in the 2000s. But absolutely fantastic version of Move It. Brian May did it again with Brian Bennett. Move It. Brian May. So number 3, I have Nick Kershaw. And Nick Kershaw appeared on Cliff's album 80 star Nick Kershaw. Everybody knows who Nick Kershaw is, surely. But he played a great guitar and he wrote the track Healing Love on Cliff's album. Cliff's last number 1 album, actually. The album released back in 1993. He wrote that track and he played a fantastic guitar on it. Healing Love. Sorry. So number 2, I have Gary Moore. And like Chris Ray, you're wondering, what track did Gary Moore play with on Cliff? That's definitely didn't. But he did. He actually played lead guitar, which I think this counts as well, on Grief Never Grows Old, which was released, which is a song released for the Tsunami Fund, written by Mike Reid. And I think Simon Mayo, or maybe Mike Reid, wrote on his own, I'm not sure. But Gary Moore does lead guitar on that, along with Cliff. Cliff does vocals. It does. Barry Gibb appears on the single. Chris Rea again appears on the single. Boy George appears on the single. Robin Gibb appears on the single. Even Brian Wilson, legendary Beach Boys artist, sings on that single. But I think it counts because it's a record released, and it features Cliff and it features Gary Moore on lead guitar. So the last one, I'm not sure whether many people know this artist, but he had a few kind of American hits in the early 80s, kind of part of that classic rock arena kind of pop rock type songs in the early 80s, and he was a big part of it. And there's a guy called Billy Squire, absolutely amazing guitarist. He appeared on albums with Eric Clapton, Phil Collins, Elton John, George Harrison, Paul McCartney, even Ringo Starr's album. I think he was on tour with Ringo Starr at one stage. And but Billy Squire played lead guitar on Born to Rock and Roll, Cliff's track from Time. So that counts as well. So that's 10 absolutely amazing guitarists that actually appeared on Cliff Records. I'm not sure whether many people knew them all, but I'm sure the diehard fans do. But just for the people that don't know, I thought they'd give them a shout out. And they're 10 absolutely fantastic tracks and feature some amazing musicians. So I just thought do this video for fun and give a shout out to some of them songs. If you want to leave any comments, leave them in the section below. If not, thank you and bye.